Taiwan's military drills prepare for a full-scale invasion.
I'm Yin Khvat for TaiwanPlus here in Miaoli County for the first day of Taiwan's largest annual military drills, the Hangguang exercises, where Taiwan's recently reformed reservists are being put to the test.
I'm Bing Wong for TaiwanPlus, and I'm here at the Wan-An exercises where civilians are taking shelter in case of an enemy attack.
Years of renovations, millions of dollars spent, but the Hsinchu City Baseball Stadium shuts down after its inaugural games. Taiwan's top badminton seeds impress the home crowd to claim the title at the Taipei Open. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Yin Khvat. Taiwan's largest annual military drills, the Hangguang exercises, kicked off on Monday. The Air Force carried out exercises preparing for scenarios involving an attack from China. And in Taiwan's western Miaoli County, reservists have been preparing for a full-out invasion in their revamped training program. Rick Lauert reports.
Preparing for a Chinese invasion. These Taiwan reservists ready defences that could slow down an enemy force landing on nearby beaches. For software engineer Yin Khvat, taking part in his country's largest military drill is not just a duty, but an honour.
很高兴能够在这一次参加自强38号的演习。在这里教召的时候，在这些相关的训练上，看着教召的干部们一点一点的依据自己的专长及 SOP 准则去对我们实施教导，相信。在国际的战役上还是非常坚强的。
Yin Khvat is one of hundreds of reservists involved in Taiwan's 5-day Hangguang exercises, which simulate the response to a potential full-scale invasion by China. China claims Taiwan as its own and threatens to take it by force. It's the first time reservists are participating in the drills since their service was reformed to meet the growing threat. Reservists like these are now going to train for longer and focus more on combat skills, such as shooting. Their training was revamped earlier this year in a bid to boost the country's war readiness as tensions rise across the strait. In recent months, China has increasingly sent fighter jets into Taiwan's air identification zone. That and Russia's invasion of Ukraine are prompting officials here to rethink Taiwan's defense strategy.
So you can see, these situations in the Taiwan Strait is becoming much more tension over the past years. So the United States and not only the United States, but also Taiwan per se has kind of the voice to argue that the island had to reconsider its military strategy and its military policy. So expanding military service, that's one issue. And increasing military expenditure is another one.
Across the country, Taiwan is mobilizing its army, air force and navy in a show of war readiness as it looks to modernize its forces, spending nearly $17 billion on defense this year. But it is civilians like these that are also being called to play a greater role in the defense of their country. Patrick Chen and Rick Lauert in Miaoli County for TaiwanPlus.
Civilians too were put through their paces. Taiwan conducted the first of 4 Wan-An drills in the capital city of Taipei. The exercises instruct the public on what to do in case of an enemy attack. Bing Wang has the details.
The first of 4-day civilian drills just kicked off across Taiwan in the capital Taipei. These drills, the Wan-An drills, are aimed at protecting citizens in the event of an enemy invasion. Air sirens blared for 30 minutes, meaning civilians had to seek shelter and cars had to pull off roads. While trains continued to run, people could not leave the station. The same exercise will be conducted across the country over the next few days. Those who violate the protocols will face a fine of up to $1,000 to $5,000 US. Last year, the restrictions weren't as strict because of COVID-19. That's because the government didn't want people to congregate in one area and risk exposure. But this year, the restrictions are back in place and it's back to normal. Ricky, Pichi Zhuang, Bing Wang in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's army is punishing several officers over a fatal tank accident last week. The officers ordered a 24-year-old conscript to carry out tank maintenance, even though army rules say such work should only be done by professional soldiers with the right training. A tank's gun barrel moved unexpectedly, pinning the conscript underneath. He later died from his injuries. The army has summoned commanding officers to remind them that conscripts are not allowed to do high-risk jobs. Millions of dollars were spent on years of renovations, but just 2 days after it opened, the Hsinchu City Baseball Stadium has been shut down again. A number of baseball players were injured in the inaugural games due to uneven grounds. But as Yujing Wang reports, the issues went well beyond the playing field.
It was supposed to be the game highlighting the newly renovated Hsinchu Baseball Stadium. Instead,
没有缓冲的感觉，因为它上面是松松的，但是下去你扑下去的时候又是很硬。
the original Hsinchu Baseball Stadium was torn down 6 years ago and was rebuilt at a cost of $4 million. On its opening weekend, 4 players were injured on the field. Complaints also poured in from the fans. Spectators had to contend with rusty stairs, anti-slip and reflective strips on the wrong side of the steps, and the locks for women's restrooms were on the outside and not the inside of the cubicles.
所有的责难到我身上，在我的协调之下，大家已经有初步的共识，把球场的环境，再做细节的改善。
But in November, the former mayor Lin Zhijian, who was in charge of the project, will be running for a mayoral post in another city, leading to questions about whether he will face the consequences.
市长、副市长也已经辞职，正在参选。那这2位要如何来扛责任？这我是觉得蛮不可思议的。
There are questions about the construction company's track record. It's now come to light that there have been issues with their previous projects. The local government and Chinese Professional Baseball League have already decided to close the stadium temporarily and move the games elsewhere. But the public scrutiny is now just beginning. Piper Yo and Yujing Huang for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's ongoing heatwave is starting to weaken. Temperatures reached record highs last week, but the Weather Bureau says the high-pressure system spiking the mercury is losing steam. Temperatures will top out around 36 degrees over most of the country. In the east, though, it could get hotter, with temperatures at 38 degrees in Hualien. But forecasters say there could be some respite in the next few days. Taiwan's top men's and women's badminton seeds have both won their 4th titles at the Taipei Open this weekend. More than 90 players from 26 countries took part this year. As Louise Watt reports, the tournament took place after a 2-year hiatus due to the pandemic.
Taiwan's top-seeded badminton players both claimed victory on Sunday. First, Dai Ziying beat Japan's Saina Kawakami. It took her only 37 minutes, her longest game of the tournament. Dai's win is her 4th singles title at the Taipei Open.
And the champions of the women's single final is Dai Ziying from Chinese Taipei.
那我在打的时候会希望自己就是一样是失误不要这么多，然后他今天一开始下场的时候速度也是非常的快，所以我在打的时候也会有造成蛮大的压力。
Zhou Tiancheng also did Taiwan proud in the men's singles, beating Kodai Naroka of Japan in 1 hour, 1 minute. He became the first male player to win 4 titles at the event.
我们也是不断的在试探对方，然后做出战术跟技术的改变，然后最后我觉得他停得有点下滑，那我就趁这个机会把比数给拉开。
It wasn't quite as smooth for Taiwan in the men's doubles. Li Yang and Wang Qilin, who won gold at the Tokyo Olympics, lost out in the finals to their Malaysian opponents.
关键的时候，可能我自己太着急了，就是觉得机会球来了，太想要去得分，所以变成一些手上的失误又跑出来。
It was still the pair's best showing at the Taipei Open, adding to a tournament that Taiwanese can be proud of. Damon Lin, Ken Ning and Louise Watt for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's archery team has won a gold medal at an international competition in Colombia. The recurve mixed team shot to the top at the 2022 Hyundai Archery World Cup Stage 4 in the city of Medellin. Lei Qianying and Tang Jujun beat out the US squad to claim the top prize. The Taiwan team had won several medals at the previous 3 stages of the World Cup. Coming up, the government faces millions of cyber attacks every day. We look at how Taiwan is defending itself in cyberspace.
In a changing world, when voices are being silenced, TaiwanPlus is listening. We tell those stories. No compromise, no boundaries,
people in Taiwan.
no fear.
I want to study Chinese. I'm Ryan Kilpatrick. Capital Taipei. TaiwanPlus.
TaiwanPlus News.
Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. A reminder of our top stories. Taiwan's largest annual military drills, Hangguang exercises, kicked off on Monday. The event showcased the Air Force preparing for an attack from China, while reservists in Miaoli County displayed their revamped training program, preparing for a large-scale invasion. But it's not just physical warfare the country is preparing for. There have been an increasing number of threats in cyberspace too. Taiwan's government says it faced some 5 million cyber attacks daily last year, with around half coming from China. The Cyber Risk Index by Japan's Trend Micro found that 76% of Taiwanese companies expect some form of cyber attack in the coming year. $1.3 million has been earmarked for a new Ministry of Digital Affairs in Taiwan, launching next month. It will be tasked with implementing cybersecurity policies. To find out more about Taiwan's information security systems, our reporter James Chater spoke to T.H. Shi, a community leader at Open Knowledge Taiwan, an NGO that works on open government and cybersecurity.
What steps have the Taiwanese government taken to protect information systems from Chinese hacking specifically, and do you think it's enough?
Well, I would say when you are dealing with Chinese hackers, preparation is never enough. So I would say preparation is not enough, but the government is trying hard to address the problem by, for example, asking the public companies who have a CISO, the Chief Information Security Officer, within their office or corporate. That's a major milestone for protecting information system.
How are Taiwanese government communications conducted, and are they secure enough?
Well, I think the question can be answered like because security is a relative term. So I would say the government is trying hard on this, but there are some risks not being addressed so far. A lot of officials in the government, as we know or we recognize, that they're using private messengers, not just Line, but other like Facebook Messenger to conduct business or operations. And it's really, if you lose the phone, the data being transmitted through those channels will be exposed to the public, to hackers, to someone who want to get a tap of their resource. That's one of the major risks that's hurting the government communication security right now.
Could you talk a little bit about some of the chief weaknesses in the Taiwanese government's information security apparatus, and what is the government doing to combat those?
Well, I think the chief weakness in it is the lack of talent in government security sector in general. And because it's hard, it's an emerging topic and field. So you really can't recruit enough people into the field and to work on that. That's the major weakness, not just in the government, but in the whole private sector as well. Well, the government is trying to work on the idea of PPP, which stands for private-public partnership So by inviting private sector to establish a response teams on cybersecurity, the government could be better prepared to share attack information across intergovernment agencies, which in turn would help to alleviate the risk or minimize the risk.
What happens to public data, like location data, used to track people from Taiwan's contact tracing system? And is that information stored securely enough?
I would say that based on the evidence we've obtained, the information security, especially on the central government level, is quite secure. But in order to transmit the data to local government, it's hard to say because the local government might lack the talent or budget to reinforce the security in their systems.
Let's get you some of the other international news now. Myanmar's military junta has executed 4 people, including a former member of parliament. The country has been in chaos since the army took over in a coup last year. The junta has crushed sustained, mostly peaceful protests and has taken over government offices. The 4 executed included prominent pro-democracy activists and a lawmaker from former leader Aung San Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy party. They were executed for leading what military authorities called brutal and inhumane terror acts. The killings are the country's first use of capital punishment in decades. 3 people, including a former mayor, have been killed in a shooting at a university in the Philippines. The gunman opened fire with 2 pistols on Sunday at a graduation ceremony for law students at Ateneo de Manila University in the capital. He was injured in a shootout with campus security and arrested after a car chase. Among the dead is Rose Furugay, former mayor of a city in the Philippines' restive south, who was there to attend her daughter's graduation. Her aide and security guard were also killed. Police say the suspect has a long history of disputes with Furugay. A volcano in western Japan has erupted, prompting a high alert in the region. On Sunday night, the Sakura-jima spewed black smoke and sent volcanic stones raining down nearly 2.5 kilometers away. The eruption alert level was raised to its highest level, leading to evacuations. There were no immediate reports of any damage or injuries, and authorities say they do not expect a major eruption. The volcano is located on the southern tip of Kyushu Island near the city of Kagoshima. It is one of Japan's most active volcanoes, last erupting 3 years ago. Making papier-mâché deities is considered a sunset industry in Taiwan, with most temples opting for wooden sculptures. But one artist in central Taiwan's Yunlin has rediscovered long-lost techniques and revitalized this age-old craft. Here's his story.
我爸爸也就留下这一些东西，我不想让它在我手上就断了。 最早起源是在东汉末年，那是皇帝祈福祭天在用。这个就是脱胎换骨法里面的，把它锯开，把那个泥胎拿掉，这就是脱胎。
Papier-mâché gods with flesh and bones are thought to be the most effective.
2张1层的给我，然后再上2层的给我。
To learn the craft, his wife, who lived in Taipei, went to his hometown with him. It takes at least 7 layers of evenly laminated bamboo fiber paper for the figures to be sturdy enough.
刚开始你不知道力道，搓得太用力，它就破掉给你看，它就破给你看；搓得不够扎实，等它阴干的过程就一张一张的分开了。
They tried using chemical glue, which is stronger, but as it turned out, not only was it harder to shape, it lost its stickiness over time. So they insist on the ancient method of using flour papier-mâché, but that means they need to put up with the heat and humidity.
像我们的纸上了浆糊，冷气它是整个空气变干燥的时候，它的纸就变干变硬，你就不能用，就不断的就是在这边跟纸在奋斗。
When Tsai returned home, he had prepared himself mentally for a long battle. Even though papier-mâché is a sunset industry, he couldn't bring himself to abandon his sick father and the papier-mâché masks.
我大哥就跟现在一般人一样，他们说做这个工作赚不了钱，他不愿意接手。就我爸本来一度想要不要做，就差一点被那些客户淹死了。他说台湾就你们一家，你们不做了，你们不想赚钱，可是我们怎么办？我们法事统统都没办法做了，怎么办
？Papier-mâché masks are usually burned after ceremonies, so very few people actually notice this traditional art. His persistence and attention to detail earned him an order to make a large papier-mâché god figure using the ancient method. However, creating a large papier-mâché craft is a daunting task. He had to hit the library to look for clues to piece together the history and technique for making papier-mâché gods. That's when he learned about the ancient demolding technique.
我们必须要从这些片面的东西想办法去还原，在古代要达到这样工艺，到底要怎么做？想办法再去把它一步一步还原。所以，我5年多丢的东西比一卡车还多，因为这一尊神像做起来要30几道工序，可是只要有一道错了，全部丢掉重来。
那时候你会觉得前途茫茫，不晓得这块路走的到底对不对。只是先生就很坚持着想要再开拓一块。把还原这种失传的技法。
He didn't want to pass up any opportunities to change the old shop.
我2个哥哥他就不看好我，他说你这样搞下去你会当乞丐。我说没关系，因为你总是要试过才知道，你尽力了才能够论输赢。你如果连尽力都没有，你永远就没有成。
These papier-mâché crafts featuring the likenesses of deities are the results of his hard work throughout the years. Never one to follow passing fads, Tsai never thought about making cartoonish god figures.
我也尽量想把它的威仪整体的给展现出来，包括整个做法、纸彩做法，我也是想说尽量还原，把古代的东西完完整整的还原出来。
An artist is particular in his craft, but as he strives to improve, he also faces greater challenges.
开发这个整尊这个神像的技术，我花了5年时间，我把台北一栋房子卖了，全部砸下去了。这是第一个部分。第二个部分，我出国展览10几年了，把第2栋房子也砸下去了。既然决定要走了，就不要再回头去看它好不好？所以我就一路往前冲了。
These papier-mâché crafts that fill his living room have accompanied Tsai on many trips to exhibitions overseas.
黑色的是乌有甲，红色的是莲花甲，白色的是银钉甲。
Tsai is meticulous about the smallest details, such as the styling of the figure's clothing, which must be period correct.
因为你既然要把它还原，就要把它还原的完整，还原一半都不算。每一尊要做到筋骨皮肉，通通都要有。所以这个脚捏下去是要有肌肉的感觉，要有弹性。
It took him another 2 years to combine 4 different types of paper to create a skin-like texture and elasticity. He believes that only by perfecting his craft can he effectively tell Taiwan stories.
那这个部分，根据我们在大陆、在国外也展览了很多年，发现这个是只有台湾才有，现在连大陆都没有，大陆也搞不清楚这是什么事情。那我们就把它当成这一组就是一个台湾的一个宗教文化的一个特征。我们既然有这技术，为什么我们只能够做人家祭典用的？我们可以把它层面拉开。
Branching out requires more than just hard work. When Tsai is busy working, his wife is out exploring opportunities.
我太太我让她去上课，去清创啊，去行政院的一些辅导课程，让她不断去上课，看看有没有机会去 touch 到一些点。
Tsai and his wife work together seamlessly. Wherever there is an event, they will go and set up a stall. They finally caught the government's attention and were featured at an exhibition. Tsai introduced Eastern culture to a German artisan trade show and surprised a lot of foreigners.
他们就说：“我可以摸一下吗？”我说：“可以呀，反正那个还没开光的。”我说：“可以呀。”他们怕把脸摸脏了，他们就在衣服上面摸一下，就好高兴啊！他说：“我摸到神了，我摸到神。”我觉得没有什么叫做夕阳产业。我爷爷演布袋戏，我叔叔也演布袋戏，他们也说那是夕阳产业。我说你看霹雳一年盈余几亿，有这样夕阳产业吗？所以我说就看你怎么看，你怎么去努力，你怎么去看。
The Changhua Roundhouse, a beloved piece of Taiwan's railway heritage, has turned 100. Railway roundhouses were places where locomotives could be stored and repaired. They were built in a ring shape with stalls for trains. A turntable in the centre moves the trains into a service stall or back out onto the rails. When the Changhua Roundhouse was built in 1922, these facilities were still common, but it's now the only survivor in Taiwan. Railway fans came to celebrate the anniversary and some good news. Taiwan's Culture Ministry has declared it a national monument, meaning more funds for preservation. Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. Finally, we leave you with these images of Thai farmers racing their water buffalo on a muddy track. This event marks the beginning of a new rice growing period at the monsoon season. For more stories from Taiwan and around the world, please download the TaiwanPlus app. Stay safe and see you next time.